about 20 years ago was when the first group of young people that I worked with had a vision for having a teen center.
Basically, a few teens came to the city of Hampton and said, there is nothing constructive for us to do. There is nothing to do in the city of Hampton.
And a lot of kids were saying, it would be really great if young people had a place to go in the city. So a bunch of adults got together with this first group of kids, and we started planning out what could a teen center possibly look like. And for the last 20 years, new groups of kids and adults have come along each time and have started planning out what this teen center could be. This year, September of 2009 was our opening, and here we go. We got started.
We're having to create everything kind of from the ground up, since this is so new to everybody and the beginning of hopefully a revolution and innovation. This is a place where they can be themselves. The culture is going to be different than it is at school or at home or a community center. It's going to be enriching but fun, and a place where they can really call home and it can be their own. Personally, I face challenges of wanting to make the teen center everything that it can be. But with that comes the need for community networking, and when you're working with community members, it gets out of your control. So when you're trying to make something as great as it can be and some of the things are out of your control, that becomes a challenge.
Oh, how many outside agencies? Gosh. Well, there's Alternatives Incorporated, there's Hampton City Schools, there's Hampton Parks and Recreation, there is the Hampton Health Department, the Career Cafe, and basically all that stuff falls under the umbrella of the Hampton Coalition for Youth, who's overseeing the entire operation. So it's a cast of thousands. And of course, one of our big players is Christopher Newport University, who are providing the AmeriCorps members that help this thing get, and volunteers as well, to help this thing get up and running. Okay. I mean, AmeriCorps has played a crucial role at the Teen Center for a couple reasons. First of all, the AmeriCorps members that we have are all college students. And so we've always had the vision that this teen center was going to be about young people, young leadership, and it wasn't going to be a place where adults are running everything. The teen center was always envisioned that it would have a lot of youthful energy, and everything wasn't going to be run by adults my age, but that they really were going to have young people, teenagers, and college students running things. So when we brought 12 AmeriCorps members into the Teen Center, it's been the best decision, as far as I'm concerned, that we've made. First of all, AmeriCorps are young enough to remember what it's like to be a teenager, but a little bit older, so they bring maturity with them. The teenagers respect AmeriCorps, yet they can relate to them. And I think the other thing that AmeriCorps does is they bring their college majors with them. So as they go to school and they have an interest, they bring here and they develop programming around their college majors that the kids can experience. And I guess one other thing that's really cool is that AmeriCorps is a national service program. And at Alternatives, one of our big emphases is on service. We want kids to be involved in that in our community and to have a voice. So in my opinion, AmeriCorps are the local models for our young people, that you can be young and truly be engaged in leadership and service.
Well, our program specifically in AmeriCorps is that we serve here with the kids, and we do each of the AmeriCorps members has an expertise that they have, and so mine is leadership and character development, and so while I'm here, I try to create programs for the teens that focus on leadership and character development. Well, one of the challenges I think is that right now it's disorganized, very it's less disorganized now than it used to be, but because this is like the first year of the project, I think it's just still kind of being like in formation. So people's roles are kind of fuzzy, and like people's expectations of the center is fuzzy, and like the teens themselves like reacting to the center, whether a lot of kids come, like a lot of kids in the beginning didn't come, and still the numbers are way lower than what we want them to be. So like because it's new, I feel like it's very like disorganized, and or it's becoming more organized and more structured and more functional, and more kids are learning about it and finding out about it and being excited about it. But it's just hard, like that process of like getting off the ground and like having set expectations and then actually fulfilling like those expectations. So that's been a struggle, and it still is a struggle, I think.
Okay, yes, I'm in the leadership program with the AmeriCorps here at the Teen Center, and we're helping the youth develop their character and build leadership skills that will help them along in the future. Being that it's a rather new establishment, we find there's a lot of structural issues, a lot of perhaps issues in the hierarchy of, management and things of that nature. But other than that, the teens themselves are great.
Well, the challenges we're faced with at the Teen Center are recruitment of teens. The center is huge, and even though we have 250 members, some days it doesn't feel like we have anyone in here. We would like to see this place so every day there were 250, 300 kids in here coming to utilize the center. So what that means is we've got to get out and do a lot more outreach to our teens to get them to come in.
How was it juggling your life as a student here at CNU and your other life as an AmeriCorps member?
Nearly impossible. And for me, I was lucky enough to get the majority of my hours done during the first semester, but my grades definitely suffered in that first semester. I think I got 2 C's, one of them in my major classes. And the next semester, I actually only took 4 classes instead of 5, so that I would have more time to finish the hours. It's a really big demand if you have I hate to say if you have anything else going on, it's just that the hours are so limited that if you have classes at night, just even 2 days a week, you're not going to be able to get your 20 hours a weekend. It's almost impossible. It's not open on weekends to serve, and you really can only be there from like 3 to 8 or 9 p.m. every day. So, I think that my life as a student, I could still do my homework outside of class, but I was expected to be there when my classes were going on, which was not possible. So I definitely think that suffered. And as far as having like a life outside of AmeriCorps, you definitely had to schedule everything around it. Like if you have to work on Fridays, you can't really go home for the weekend. If there's an activity on Saturday, you can't go home for the weekend. So
What advice would you give for a new AmeriCorps member?
I mean, this really just has to be your priority. And it's hard to say because I know that it's going to change every year, but you need to go in knowing what you want to do. The biggest mistake I made when we first went in, we took a semester to know the kids, or the young people, but the second semester we were expected to program. I planned all of my programs over winter break when I was not in school, when I wasn't doing anything. I had every single program written out, all my lesson plans done from 1 through the end of the program. I had all the grants written that I needed to write. Like everything was done going into it, so all I had to do was make changes instead of make everything. And like I said, I had to not drop a class, but I had to only register for 4 classes in order to be able to give the time commitment I needed. It's you really can't be doing anything else.
I would advise them to know what their intentions are and what they intend to do, what they are and are not willing to do in order to meet these goals, and stick to their guns and stick to their vision and their goal, and don't let anything or anyone get in their way or try to bring them down in any sense. And stay true to yourself when it comes to the programs you choose. That is all.
How would you describe your experience at the Teen Center in one word? What word would that be?
It's hyphenated, but eye-opening. I think that I went in just because of the description of what AmeriCorps is. It's, you know, helping out in low-income areas and like altering lives of people who need to be helped more. And I feel like what our actual task was more preventative than anything else. Because we got a group of students, and they're all in high school, so they have their, you know, issues. Who doesn't? And when they're a teenager, but based on the area of Hampton, a lot of what we were doing was preventative. You know, keeping them involved outside of school, so that they didn't go other places to be entertained by like drugs or alcohol or anything like that. But at the same time, I did meet some young people who did have extreme problems as far as the results of like a lower socioeconomic status or class or anything like that. And I think just the broad array of people that I was working with, as well as the people that we were serving, was definitely eye-opening.
Fulfilling?
Good word.
Because I love kids and I love working with them, and I feel like it's very fulfilling to work here because I see like what like my desires are and what my goals are fulfilled, if that makes sense. So like I get to use like what I'm passionate about, my talents, and apply them, and it's fulfilling in that way. And then also it's fulfilling just to see the kids that come here. Like it's cool to watch them grow and progress, and they not want to come to your programs in the beginning, and then all of a sudden they want to come. So it's fulfilling in that way, I guess.
He was a constant recruiter for the programs. They would recruit me for like every single program he had. Whoever didn't want to do it, he was like, "Come on, just do it." And he was always doing a game that I didn't understand. And he was really cool. David's really cool. Really had a good time learning stuff from him. And he was one of the people that helped, besides Maria, that kind of helped me figure out why it was so cool to be here.
And like I said, I like when like you start with a program and there's like nobody coming, and then it grows, and like the kids on the fringes who would not have come start to come, and just I like to see. My favorite part is seeing like the potential of the kids being like recognized or fulfilled, because they get pumped about that.
I would describe it as mountainous. If I could create my own word, it would be mountainous. And the reason I choose that word is because there are days where I feel like I am at the very top of that mountain, and all the teens are with me, and there's nothing better than being at the top of the mountain. And there's days where I feel like I'm falling rapidly down it, and I've hit the bottom, and it sucks. And all I want to do is make it everything that I know it can be, because I've sat at the top of the mountain before. In days that I am working so hard to get back up the mountain to get to that point. So the Teen Center is mountainous.
Working with youth is invigorating and refreshing. It reminds you of the freedom that you should have and the directness that many people lack today. And it always keeps you grounded.